Good morning, this is Hogan with Bitcoin Advisors. Welcome back. Today we're going to do a video about Bitcoin mining and what is the actual circulating supply of Bitcoin and why is it important to learn about Bitcoin? Well, let me answer that for you. You cannot save, or at least most people cannot, save your way to wealth in this country anymore because of inflation. So you need to learn how to invest, make your money work for you. So the best way is to get educated, then get started. So on this channel, we want you to learn, have a little fun, and most importantly, become successful in your own investments. And our main topic today is Bitcoin mining. 90% of Bitcoin has already been mined. Most people already know there are only ever going to be 21 million Bitcoin. That's the total supply. But the mining process allows for more and more Bitcoin of that 21 million to come into the circulating supply. And it started out 12 years ago in the beginning of Bitcoin that approximately, it started out that every 10 minutes, 50 Bitcoin were mined and put into the circulating supply. That continued for 4 years, and eventually we hit this point called the halving. That's a word, H-A-L-V-I-N-G, cut in half, where it went from 50 Bitcoin to 25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. We then went from 25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes for 4 years down to 12 and a half, and that continued for 4 years, and then we got the last halving, the most recent, which took us from 12 and a half to 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes. That's about 900 Bitcoin per day coming into the circulating supply. But now we've achieved in the first 12 years or so of Bitcoin's existence, 90% of all Bitcoin now mined and out there on the open market in circulation. So miners currently receive that 6.25 Bitcoin for each block that they verify on the blockchain as a reward for their work. And after the next halving, it'll drop to 3.125. Now, the end of this process is going to come in 2140. You heard that right. The year 2140 is when the last Bitcoin will be mined. And you can see here, I'm going to pull up this chart. You can see here that we're just going to keep going until we get to 21 million, right? The chart is just in that upwards trajectory. And you can see here also, as we go to this other chart that I have pulled up for you guys, pull that up right now, check this out. There are 18,901,806 already in existence in the circulating supply. And that means that there are just over 2 million Bitcoin that are left to be mined. So this right here, this number you're seeing on the screen, on the top left of this chart right here, that is 90% of the Bitcoin already issued. And there's 900 new Bitcoin coming into the market each and every day. So when you start to think about this, obviously Bitcoin is just a supply and demand equation. The supply, it's fixed. And the total supply and the incoming supply is programmatic. It's pre-programmed, preset. So that supply schedule, 900 Bitcoin per day, we know it. We can prove it. We know exactly what's going to happen tomorrow as well as in the future. We can prove it when that comes as well on the blockchain. That's the great thing about Bitcoin. But the demand is the thing that everyone continues to try to model. And so you're trying to understand, do more or less people want Bitcoin than they did 1 year ago? 5 years ago, 10 years ago, right? Because supply and demand principles suggest that if there's a fixed supply of something and the demand increases, the price and the value rises as well. And what we've seen is demand has continued to increase, but it may not be just that simple. That there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin in circulation once all of them have been mined. So let me add another factor in here. According to Chainalysis, there's about 3.7 million Bitcoin that they estimate have been lost based on analyzing address activity. Okay, and we're talking about addresses on the blockchain. So that is an estimate, not a precise number, but again, this is a resource called Chainalysis. You guys can check it out yourselves online. How many Bitcoin have been lost, though, is the question they're trying to solve. So sometimes you just have somebody who got a bunch of Bitcoin, they held it for 10 years, and you think it was lost, but then all of a sudden the coin moves, and you say, oh, well, somebody still must have control or access to that wallet or that address. And so this is an estimation. Okay, it's an estimated number, guys, but it's about 3.7 million they estimate have been lost. And a further 1 million Bitcoin are suspected to be held by Satoshi Nakamoto, who is the creator of Bitcoin. And it's untouched, this million Bitcoin, which is part of the beauty of Bitcoin. It's that the creator had the genius to create Bitcoin, but was humble enough to walk away and also hold on to the project, right? It hasn't been touched. This Bitcoin has just been sitting there from the day that it was mined a long time ago at the beginning of when Bitcoin came about. Now, could those coins move at some point in the future? Sure, but it's unlikely. In the near future. And even if they did, nothing would necessarily change about the network. People would just begin speculating again about, who is Satoshi and where are they? Where did they go? Why are they back? But ultimately, it'd be no different than other dormant coins moving after a very long time. And so these numbers are heavily debated. Is it really 1 million coins held by Satoshi? Is it 800,000? Is it somewhere in between? Or is it a different number that nobody actually knows? We can simply look at the on-chain metrics and do our best to try to guess. So between lost coins and what Satoshi holds, it is not fully understood, but we do have some estimates. Now, if we go ahead and we look at the Bitcoin circulating supply as a percent of the 21 million total Bitcoin, you can see here that 90% of that total supply has been issued or mined, and that gives us an inflation rate of about 1.88%. Now, the beauty here is that the Bitcoin inflation rate is closer to the Fed's 2% target than the Fed has been all year. So Bitcoin just doing a great job to actually obtain a rate that is much, much lower than the central banks that have variable monetary policies. And then lastly, if we go ahead and we look at those halvings here, so let me pull up that chart for you guys. This is the chart of all the halvings that have happened in Bitcoin. What you can see here is the lines that are drawn vertically. You can see those are the actual halving moments, but the price itself continues to increase significantly post-halving. And when you see that, what you can tell is that regardless of what people say, the halving has never been priced in before. That's the sentiment we always hear. Oh, the halving's priced in. When the halving comes, the price won't go up because it's been priced in. Not true, and we can see it by this chart. It's proven itself multiple times. Everyone has the same information. Everyone knows when the halving is coming, and the idea is that therefore, because of that, it gets priced in. But unfortunately, that is completely ignoring the fact that everyone in the market doesn't know about the halving. Not everybody knows about it, right? We're assuming that everyone has the knowledge that we have about the halving. So they can't even describe how it works. Like, do most people know how the halving works? No. They don't even know when it's going to happen. And the people who show up post-halving have no clue that it already occurred. And so naturally, what we get 21 million total Bitcoin in the supply. We've got 90% of them that have already been mined or issued now. And this is likely just to continue. Bitcoin does not care what is going on in politics, in any sort of geopolitical drama, disagreements. They do not care what is going on with the public health crisis or anything. It simply produces block after block of transactions. It is a programmatic, transparent monetary policy. That is the beauty of Bitcoin. It is the most disciplined central bank in the world, and it continues to just do exactly what it was built to do, to be robust, to be resilient, and to continue to protect our purchasing power. Guys, I appreciate you stopping by today with us at Bitcoin Advisors. I want to let you guys know none of what I've said today is investment advice. We're not financial advisors, but what I would like to provide to you and what we would like to provide is valuable information. And guys, if you have any questions, any concerns, there will be a link in the description below you can click on. We do offer services for IRA rollovers and cash accounts into cryptocurrency, and we'd love to chat with you more on what we do and give you some more valuable information. If that's not for you at this moment, feel free to subscribe. Please do subscribe. It certainly helps out the channel. It pushes this information out to new faces, to new people out there. And our goal here is just to help people understand and educate those that do not have this type of education. So subscribe, hit that bell notification, and drop a like on the video. Thanks for being with us today at Bitcoin Advisors, and we'll talk to you soon.